Okay, so we're doing pen sketch artwork today on a little tiny napkin. Oh my goodness, I got a coffee spill on here, but that actually makes it better. So we're doing 1, 2, 3. So I'm gonna do some strokes, some basic strokes here of one. This is always kind of fun, like this. We'll do just a basic stroke like that, and then we will do a 2. You know, sometimes, and I will say, sometimes the 2s and the 5s can sort of look like each other if you do them a certain way. Okay, so I'm going to show you how. I've done a 2 that's kind of like that. You know, so when you got 5, or no, maybe that's the 5 and the S. Yeah, S, 5, C5 and S sometimes kind of looks like. Okay, but let's continue on with the basics here. We'll do the basic strokes, and then we will add more to it. 1, 2, and then 3. And so 1, 2, 3. So we're just doing them nice and neatly. We're doing a basic stroke here. I'm just kind of enhancing it like this a little bit. 1, 2, and 3. There's been some songs. I haven't looked for quite some time to see what the songs are, but there's quite a few songs that are 1, 2, 3. Now, 1, 2, 3 is something we often use in crochet. You know, the first step, the second step, the third step, the first row, the second row, the third row. And, you know, you're even going to have that the first row, the second row, the third row related to corn. You're going to have that related to seats. You know, if you're someone who is fancy and affluent. Let's draw kind of a box numbers. And so I'm going to do letterboxing numbers. That's what I'm going to do, some letterboxing. I love letterboxing. So let's do letterboxing like this. Oh, and someone taught me how to use my computer, my laptop as a shadow box. That is what was cool, a shadow box for drawing. Now there is a slight problem that I have though, because I tend to move the stuff on the screen and then it kind of moves out of place. So there's a 1, that's the box like that, the 1, and then we're gonna do we'll do these in tandem, kind of like this. We'll do them in tandem. Uh-oh, I took it down kind of far, but let's see if I can recover. There's a 1, a 2, like this. And let's take it out this side. It still works, even though I crossed over right there, it still works. There's the 2. And so I'm going to do the, I'm going to try to darken it a little bit like that. The 1, 2, and so I want to do the same thing with the 3. Okay, I'm going to do this. I was going to say I don't want to go down too far. I want to make it kind of look like the other 1 and 2 and the 3. And so we're going to go down. Do you remember Lawrence Welk? A 1 and a 2 and a 3. Ricky Ricardo. A 1 and a 2 and a 3. That's what all the band directors are. A 1 and a 2 and a 3. So they're always starting off with the basics of 1s, 2s, and 3s. You know, they said the internet is a 1 and a 0 for the purposes of on-off. I mean, a 1 and a 2 and a 3 has its own rhyme and reason for a lot of things as well. You know, and then you have the countdown. 3, 2, 1, blast off! And the Falcon 9 Heavy has lifted off into space on its maiden voyage, right? We've all heard that before. So much that I actually have it memorized, some of the rhetoric. It's not rhetoric. What would I call it? So we could make this 1 and 2 and 3. Well, let's do another one. Let's just do another 1 and a 2 and a 3. Let's make fat ones this time. We're going to make fat 1s and 2s and 3s. So this one, these are what I would call fat block lettering. Block lettering is, oh, I love block lettering because your imagination can just go anywhere. We'll make fat block lettering. I'm just making this up as I go along here. I'm making a fat block lettering. This one is a really fatty block lettering of a number 1. like this. There's a 1. And so we're going to make this next one. I need to keep it within this space right here. We're going to make it a fat block lettering. We're going to make it 2, a fat block. A 2, yep, that works out. We got it covered there. I kind of like rounded with the fatty fat ones like this, the fatty fat block letterings, the fatty fat blocks like that. Right there, 2. And so let's do a fatty fat block with the number 3, like this. 3. We'll do a fatty fat block right there. So we don't leave a whole lot of room, and then we go around like this. And we got a big fatty fat block right in here. So then if I was doing this in pencil, what I would probably do is erase. And so then I've got a 1, 2, and a 3. A fatty fat block of 1, 2, and a 3. So I've got the little flag here on the number 1. I've been using you see this one, I would kind of round it out a little bit more like this with the 1, 2, and the 3. The 1, 2, 3, like that. The fatty fat blocks here. The fatty fat block lettering. I kind of like rounded edges a little bit more for some reason. But even though we can do the pointed edges, you know, it's just preference in however you want to do them, however you want to do the lettering. Now, something else that's kind of fun. Okay, so let's draw something that looks foreign language lettering. Okay, so we're going to start off with something similar to this. I am going to do a 1. I'm going to do a 1 and a 1 and a 2 like this, and then a 3, a 1, 2, 3 like this. Now what I want to do is make it look like foreign lettering. So we're going to disguise our letters. So if you want to disguise the letters and hide them into something, so this is what you do. So then you take and do something like this. You put that through there like that. Sort of looks like an X, doesn't it? It doesn't look like the number 1 anymore. And so then you can take this and you can put a line through it this direction like that. And then let's put a couple of dots right here. We'll put a dot here and a dot here. And so you can see it doesn't take much to actually disguise any of the letters. Let's put some dots right here, and then a dot up here, and then we'll put we won't connect this one to the other one, but we'll just put another separation dot right there like that. So now we've sort of disguised it a little bit more. So do you still see the 1 in there anymore? It's getting a little bit harder to see, isn't it? So let's do a broken line like this. We'll put some dots here and a broken line right here and a dot here. Now we've disguised our 1, 2, and 3 quite a bit more there. Okay, and so let's put a dot here and a dot right here, and then we're going to take a curved line like this. Oh my goodness, look what we did. Look how quickly we did that in the 3. It looks like we made a heart. Look at that. We made a heart. That's sort of cool. So now we've completely disguised our 3. Okay, so in here, oh goodness sakes. Goodness, we're bumbling everything around. So we've got a 1, 2, and a 3 right there. You see that? 1, 2, 3. So I can still see it because I made it. But someone else just looking at it may not see the 1, 2, and the 3. The 3, that's fun though. Let's focus on the 3 right now. Okay, let's focus on the character. See, this is how artwork is discovered. This is how I discover artwork anyway. Other people might have their own way of discovering things, but this one was fun. So for me, this is a fun new discovery. So we're going to draw, I'm going to draw a larger Maybe this deserves a separate piece of paper. Let's do it on a separate piece of paper. 3. We're going to draw 3 like this, a great big 3. And we're going to draw and emphasize the 3. We're going to make it really, really large. And I'm going to do what I just did with the other one. And I'm going to draw a line that goes, okay, it goes around. I'm starting up here, around, and then up like that. Now see, in order to make it more of a heart, okay, so we want to make it more, it kind of looks like a nose nostril, doesn't it? It really does. But to make it look more of a heart, we have to go like this though too, because to make it look like a heart. And so mine right there, it kind of works for a small heart because I put sort of a line on it. So let's see if we can't do it again. We're going to focus on the number 3. We're going to do the number 3 again. So let me make it smaller. Maybe I'll put this part out a little bit larger like that. So I'll start right there. And so we'll put these 2 there like that. We'll make this one a little bit longer. That's what I'll do. So if you remember, this is how we make birds too. This is also the shepherd's hook. So the shepherd's hook is, well, it's something that's sold at stores, shepherd's hooks that have little hooks on them. And then you can have plants hanging outside. But so let's go this direction like this. And so then hopefully this time we'll get there. We've got more of a heart looking thing this time. So we just disguised our letter 3 and turned it into a heart, which is kind of fun there. It sort of looks like doors, you know, so if we wanted to add like a mountain scene up here or something, we could add a little mountain scene kind of going up like that. And so doesn't it look, it does, maybe, oh, it could be into the alien caves inside of Las Vegas or out in the where is it, the Lost Sands region? Is it, that's not even what it's called, I call it Lost Sands. The region of the United States where they profess and claim they used to do some type of testing out in the Nevada desert, where Area 51. Area 51. That's what we're talking about, Area 51. And so when I was looking at the Google Maps, there was a time that there was like a great big hole, and it literally looked like there was a door into the caves. It really did. And so there was places where it looked like there was giant holes and craters out in the Las Vegas region. So we can, well, if we wanted to, we can take this up and add it up further in here like this. We can add the sun over here peeking up like that. So I'm just doing some doodling. So for example, if you're in a restaurant or something, you're at an airport, and you just have, you know, you got kids with you, you have some time, and you need to keep them entertained, yourself entertained, just do a little doodling, you know. I mean, so I know my kids, they just really wanted to play with things. They wanted to run around. They wanted to be obnoxious. Sometimes I would let them run around a little bit because of the fact that they had energy to burn off. And so, you know, typically if I let my kids run around, I would try to make sure they're, well, I'd try to sit, first of all, I'd try to sit in a place that was further away from the crowd, because I wanted them to be able to run around a little bit. So I'd sit further away because I knew they were going to bother people. So I'd set off, and typically what would happen is the room would eventually fill up anyway. But I purposely, you know, kind of tried to isolate myself because I knew they were going to be obnoxious. Maybe I didn't want them bothering people who weren't used to having kids. So I always had that thought in my brain, because I knew how people who didn't have kids, it was always portrayed on TV, the ones who didn't have kids lacked understanding of children. And, you know, they weren't used to it. And I believe my mother-in-law, she said that at one point, that she got used to not having kids around. And so this was in my first marriage. And so people who don't have kids around, they tend to say that they just get used to not having kids around. Now myself, it's like, even though I haven't had babies, it's like I don't find being around a crying baby bad at all. I really don't. I mean, I hear a crying baby, I think, every day, and because someone has a baby, and I don't find that to be anything that, now if it was if it was really really loud, like on a loudspeaker outside or something, that was outside on the street or something, then maybe, and that was keeping me up all night, then I suppose that might be alarming or something. But I hear the babies crying on oh, what is it, TikTok. I hear the babies crying on there. So we've started off with a number 3, and like that, and so someone has to take care of the babies, and I know I'm not in a place to be able to afford to do that my own self, and I don't want to be a kept woman to someone else who, a person who's a nanny or a babysitter. Oh, that reminds me, there was this video of the nanny that came up. What was her name? The woman who did the naughty chair, the naughty step and the naughty chair. Does anybody remember? What in the world was her name? Okay, now we've got right here, we've kind of got a half heart. Should we? Maybe we should. Okay, so we can take this down here, and let's carry the theme of the heart on through here. So look at what we've got now. So we have literally kind of got, so right here it's attached. And so back here, so we've got kind of a larger theme of a heart taking place where not all the lines are visible here. Do you see this? Do you see where we're going with this drawing? So it's just kind of taking shape on the napkin here as I'm drawing. And just with some basic steps of just using a very strange imagination that I have. It's kind of a, what would I call it? Free form. The only thing I can call it is free form. Just, that's the only thing. Asymmetrical. And I have an asymmetrical, I think we all do if we want to tap into it. And just kind of get our brains outside of the norm, So, for, oh my gosh, when I was a kid, I would literally probably have, there's some ugly things. Oh, wording usage, So, for example, if I would have been drawing something of the Grim Reaper, I probably would have gotten in trouble for drawing the Grim Reaper. That's why it's kind of fun right now to do things like the Grim Reaper. That's something at one point I would have avoided. But you know what? Right now, as an adult, as an old person, I kind of have a lot of fun drawing some of this stuff that represents something that could be scary. And so the more I draw it, then the more it's like, well, what do I have to be scared of? It's just a word, right? So Mom was kind of scared of it, I think, her own self, and because of, I think a lot of it has to do with the religious stuff too. This good versus evil, and where devil creatures are kind of made out to be bad. It's kind of the fractured personality, the fractured split within the human mind of Christianity, the indoctrination that's forced upon people. And so now we've got a rigid thing here. Now, if I would have made enough room, I actually could have taken this on out. Well, maybe I probably still can with another, I can, well, let me do this here with a second one. So let's take this on out like this, and so we can add in another heart here like that, and add this in like this, Okay, so we can add another heart up there. And then actually the coffee stains add to it quite a bit when adding in here. So this is sort of, I guess that's why I like doing, when I was doing the split faces. The split faces are represent abuse actually. When you talk about the split faces, um, where you have, it's the external face and the internal face, so this one is more lighthearted, from the true abuse face of, what you hold inside versus how you really feel. And, so people who have not been through severe abuse just don't understand, I th- and I would tell a person, it's like, if you haven't been through it, you don't want to understand it. I mean, you shouldn't have to. That's the whole thing I'm saying. You shouldn't have to understand it, but unfortunately, it does happen when you're born into it. You also don't know. You also don't know that it's abuse. One of the things my mom told me, she said that we had a relative who, okay, I have to word this without using any names. We had a relative who was an in-law, and so the female was my relative, and she married a man, and his parents, his dad was accused of having molested the sisters. So, and my mom said, she says, she said, the sisters actually got so used to it that they thought that was what was supposed to happen. That's what my mom said. She said that that's what, when they had the discussions about that happening, that the sisters got so used to it because they were born into it, they thought that was normal. So they started talking. It sounded like they started talking to their friends at school about what was going on. That might have tipped people off in some way. It's like, oh no, most normal people don't do that kind of stuff. And so, I mean, so that was the story that my mom shared with me, because I told her that there was some things that happened when another relative, took me and my sister to visit that specific relative. And I said, there was the cousins stayed in the room with me and my sister. And I told mom, I said, I thought that was kind of odd that they stayed in the room with me and my sister. And she says, well, that's probably because the grandpa, he molested the sisters. And I said, really? I said, Grandma and Grandpa never told me that. And she says, well, yes, they did. I said, well, Grandma and Grandpa went to play cards with them. And Mom says, well, she says, they probably just didn't want the kids to be around their grandpa, because that's what he was doing to the girls. And she said they were born into that as a way of life. And see, that's the whole thing when you have small communities of people who are like in the Amish communities, the church communities, and they actually, I mean, they can fit in and align with this Christian nationalism and this sovereign citizenship. That's how abuses take place. That's why we've seen these commercials on TV that people, all of us have, a lot of us have varying degrees of what we call brainwashing and abuse that takes place within a sovereign citizenship part of the United States, because, and indoctrination and Christian nationalism, because of the fact we're born into it. That's systemic. That's what's called systemic abuses. That's why we've had these commercials on TV. Now, the internet affords us the ability to talk about these things and just out and out say, I don't fucking like it. I hate, my truth is, I hate religion. I really do. I hate religion. I don't want anything to do with it. I really don't. The people who are doing it, they are probably good people. Most probably have good intentions. I have a lot of things that I totally loved. I love the people who who were part of the church, they were great people. It's just that what religion was teaching was not good. It was not healthy, because religion is teaching the fractured spirit of, you do things in church, you don't do things outside of church. So they're always trying to reinvent themselves. They are right now with social media and things like that too. Now I've heard some people talk about the trunk or treat with church, and how they're professing, well, what they've said is, it's like, well, now all of a sudden they're doing candy and stuff at churches that they never used to do in the past. They didn't recognize Halloween. Now they're recognizing Halloween. Well, they're presenting themselves as a safer place to do things at the church, and that's not entirely true. Let's add something else. I'm seeing something else in here. Let's add another layer, an element in here into this napkin artwork today. I'm seeing a little bit of something else in here. We're going to do, I don't know, we could call it lion eyes. You can't hide your lion eyes. I haven't warmed my voice up yet this morning. It's a little bit crackly for some reason. I'm trying, a couple days ago I made that weird little voice, and I've been hoarse ever since. I think that's what it is. It actually makes my voice box stronger by doing that, but what happens is, if I start doing a vocalization with my voice I'm not used to, it kind of burns a little bit and gets a little bit chapped, is what I say. But if I start doing it more, kind of like singing, then I get more control over my larynx and my voice. So the only thing I would have to do is, if it gets a little bit chapped or red or something, or I feel like it's a little bit hoarse and hurts, I just have to gargle with some salt water. So it is, I am feeling a little bit raspy, and I think that's because I was making that noise the other day. And so if I was going to do that, I'd have to sort of work my way up to it a little bit slow. So here we are now. We've got kind of this veiled layer of, now this would actually make a cool bird face too, because I've seen birds like that, but it's kind of like that veiled layer of, hiding halfway, the fractured spirit of, but see, look what we've got right here. We could even add something else in between. Looks like a couple of sunsets, but technically we started off with the number 3. We started off with our number 3. Well, where's the, oh yeah, my numbers, we're doing 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. And so then I thought, well, I saw something just from drawing the 1 2 3. I thought, well, let's just go off with it. So I'm free forming it right now. So it's just like these people. I call it asymmetrical freeform artwork. So I just start off doing a small exercise. This is like, to me, this is really identical to crochet. I start off with something. It's like warming up your voice. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. It's like that. Not Tito Jackson. The last one, it sounds like Tito. Is that where Tito Jackson come from? I don't know. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Could be. Maybe that's where Tito Jackson come from, and the Jackson 5 and ABC and 1 2 3. Probably. And so anyway, so I just start drawing a little bit, that I get inspired by something, which was this down here, the heart. And so then I decided to make a larger heart. Then I was kind of inspired by the caves and the alien theories that we have out in Las Vegas. This is how I've been brainwashed to through the internet. Apparently I'm being brainwashed through the internet now, related to conspiracy theories and things that people have put on the internet. Okay, let's see what we got here. Sarah Dennis 12 said hello. Hello, Sarah Dennis. Okay, and so I think this is good right here. I mean, this is kind of fun because This is like my other drawing that I did. I've done drawings where we split them apart and we can add things in between. Oh, let me show. Oh, this is perfect. Okay, let me take this. Okay, I'm going to take this and add this in between. Now this is actually kind of fun. So when we do a split drawing, then we can add something else in between, just like that. So I added another layer in there. So this is kind of the fun thing, the fun part that now I have nobody watching even. This is the fun part of layers, where we layer in the artwork, and now we can take an image and factor in artificial intelligence, and take a picture of this, and then we have something else in there. So I've added another element inside of my layers here. So I'm just using a layering, very similar to Photoshop. So I never actually learned anything like this when I was in high school. Now, the thing that prompted me, now for me, physically drawing things out is a lot more fun than using Photoshop, actually. And so Photoshop was fun. It had its purpose. But I started using Photoshop in the sense of, why can't I take and layer things? And this is where my brain is still at. Why can't I take and layer things in the physical realm of artwork? Well, the thing is, I can, so if I want to make it larger like that, and so I've used the artwork I did yesterday, which is this old fish, or if I want to put this in here like this, and then utilize something like that, I can do that. Or let's see what else we have. Oh my goodness. So I can take and put this in here like that. I can kind of cover up these eyes and add it in here like this, and then have something sort of cool looking like that in there with some layers. And so what I could do is, see with this, I am thinking about cutting down in here so that more from the back side would show through as a layering effect. Maybe chopping off some of this stuff on the side so I can use more of my cardstock drawings in some of these, and then the stuff on the back side shows through. So that's kind of where I am with this. I think this is a good video, and I will probably do a live stream a little bit later again, possibly. And so, yeah, see what happened when we just kind of 1, 2, 3. We started off with our 1, 2, 3 artwork, and that's it for right now. So see you later.